Mr. President, I'm here on the floor this afternoon to talk about the economy, how to get it on the right track, and particularly how to deal with the jobs crisis that we face right now. It's a different kind of crisis than we normally talk about. There are a lot of jobs open, and the workers that are needed are not coming forward. Washington needs to change direction to get the economy on the right track. Current law provides that at least until Labor Day, that's in September of this year, that there will be a federal supplemental payment of $300 per week added to the state unemployment benefit. So if somebody's on unemployment insurance, they'll get their normal state benefit, which in Ohio is about half of whatever your income was. But on top of that, now there's a $300 federal supplement that was put in place during COVID-19, but it continues until at least September. By doing so, adding that $300, it nearly doubles the unemployment insurance benefit on average. It also results in about 42% of those people who are on unemployment insurance making more on UI than they were making at work. It has the effect of, in most states, more than doubling the amount of unemployment insurance, and it also doubles the minimum wage. So you can imagine why this is a disincentive for some people to go back to work if they can make more not working. On top of that, Democrats here in Congress during the COVID-19 legislation added another benefit to people who are on unemployment insurance compared to people who are working. And that is to say that your first $10,000 of unemployment insurance is tax-free. So if you're a truck driver making $35,000, $40,000 a year, you don't get that tax benefit. But if you're on unemployment insurance, you do get that benefit. Again, another disincentive to go back to work. People are logical, and if the government's going to pay you more not to work than to work, it creates a problem. And you can see that problem. We have a record number of job openings right now. 8.1 million jobs are open in America today. And the economic recovery we all are looking forward to is being hampered by what? A lack of workers. And if you go down your Main Street, wherever you live, you'll see the Help Wanted signs up. If you go by your restaurants, you will see, instead of the marquees saying, come and check out our great apple pie or our hamburgers, they say, we're paying signing bonuses, $500, $250. I went by a Frisch's Big Boy on the way to the airport on Monday, and that's what I saw. McDonald's offering a $500 bonus. Manufacturers, I know, in the state of Ohio I represent, offering much more in terms of signing bonuses. I've talked to a woman last week who's a friend of mine who runs a manufacturing company, a great little company, got about 200, 250 employees. She's looking for 60 people right now. She's offering a $1,000 signing bonus, plus other incentives, benefits to be able to come to work, and she can't get people to show up to apply for work. So this is a real problem in terms of our interest in getting this economic recovery going. It's time to stop this extraordinary federal unemployment supplement by keeping in place this $300 per week on top of this UI benefit and not taxing that benefit. President Biden and my colleagues on the other side of the aisle are putting us in a tough position, and I think on the verge of a real jobs crisis, because some of these jobs will end up going away, some permanently, if we don't do something about it. I believe that the federal unemployment insurance was necessary, the federal supplement, when we were at the heat of the COVID-19 crisis, let's say a year ago now. People were losing their jobs through no fault of their own. Their businesses were shutting down, in part because the government was putting in place social distancing guidelines or otherwise saying the businesses had to temporarily close. And a lot of people lost their jobs. And in my view, Congress rightly put in place expanded unemployment benefits to help those families get by when the economy was largely shut down. But we are in an entirely different place now, entirely different place. Again, 8.1 million jobs are open right now. It's an historic high. We've never had this many jobs open in America. Thanks to the hard work of a lot of our researchers and scientists, this vaccine's got out there and at record pace. We now have had vaccinations at levels that we'd all hoped for earlier. And as a result, with more than half of Americans already having had one vaccination, in my state of Ohio, it's even better than that. Restrictions are easing. Businesses are opening up, fully open again. My home state of Ohio, there's no longer a mask mandate here in the United States Senate, as an example. Things are opening up. With that reopening, again, has come all these job openings that can't be filled. The economic recovery you would expect right now is not happening because people are not getting back to work. We just had the jobs numbers from last month. The country added 266,000 jobs in April. This was alarming because it was only 1/4 of what the economists predicted. Only 25% of what people predicted. It's an early warning sign that should not be ignored. These disappointing monthly job reports typically tell bad news on two fronts. One is that there haven't been as many new jobs added as you would want, and that's certainly true. But second, it says there's not enough available jobs out there. There aren't enough open jobs out there. That's not the problem now. Adequate number of jobs is not the problem. The jobs are available. But if the President and Congress don't change course, that could become a problem. If steps aren't taken to dismantle some of the disincentives to work, some of these record number of available jobs we talked about are going to go away. Let me give you an example. There's a restaurant called Jordy's in Columbus, Ohio. They have closed down. Jordy's is closed down. They can't find workers. That's the reason. The owner was quoted as saying something like, COVID-19 didn't take me down. He got the PPP loan. He kept going. He struggled through. He was staying open. He said, my own government has taken me down because he can't compete with unemployment insurance at that level. We have lots of other businesses in Ohio. Here's some. Your Pizza Shop, Muddy's, Donato's, all in Worcester, Ohio, have told me that they're closing down 1 day a week or more because they're understaffed. Facing no alternative, other businesses are figuring out ways to permanently move forward with fewer employees. This concerns me. In some cases, they tell me they're just downsizing their business. So if you can't find those 60 employees and you're the manufacturer right now, what do? You're restricting your business. You're not opening new markets, and you're closing down maybe even some existing customers because you can't serve them. And so these jobs are going. Others are figuring out ways to do it with fewer people. And again, some might say that's a good thing, using technology and using automation to displace workers. I don't think it's a good thing. I'd rather have more people working. And that's what they want to do too. But they can't afford it, so they are going to more automation, they tell me, going to anything they can do to do with fewer workers. This is a problem. And again, Washington is creating this problem. Why would we do that? Again, I understood it and supported it when we had the COVID-19 crisis. People were losing their jobs through no fault of their own, but the opposite is happening now. We've got to change gears. We're at a crossroads. We can continue to have this economy stagnate, continue to hurt working families, or we can get people back to work and create robust and sustained economic growth. I would take the $300 a week, by the way, and shift it to a 6-week temporary bonus of $100 a week to go to work, a work bonus. You could do that immediately, even while keeping the $300 in place for a short period of time, because right away you could help people to get back to work. It would happen. And by the way, some states have decided on their own just to get rid of the $300 because they know it's not working for the small businesses, it's not working for the economy, it's not working for individuals who are not getting back to their career track, who are losing training and losing the ability to keep up with what's going on at work because they are, again, given this disincentive to go back. And it's working. There was a hotel, I'm told, in the first state that decided to do this, which was Montana, did it about 2 weeks ago, a hotel where they were offering every week to hire more employees. They're looking for more employees. They were getting one person a week to show up. Last week, 60 people. 60 people. Because they're not offering the $300 anymore. They're giving the money back. The Biden administration, as you know, would like to spend a lot more money on a lot of different things. The total is about $6 trillion when you add it all up to prime the pump, more stimulus, get the country back to work, as they say. What's happened is a lot of this stimulus money, particularly in the $1.9 trillion COVID package, has overheated the economy. And you can see it in the higher inflation numbers, which is what a lot of people predicted, including Democratic economist and former Secretary of Treasury Larry Summers, and a lot of us on the Republican side were concerned about this. Well, it's happening. And we're seeing more and more proposals for more and more stimulus. Inflation is not what we need. And by the way, that spending of $6 trillion is about 6 times what the government spent during the New Deal in the 1930s, and that's inflation adjusted. So, I mean, this is a lot of money. Instead, what we ought to do is help get people back to work, encourage them and let this economy grow on its own, which it's going to do. During the COVID-19 discussion, the Congressional Budget Office, a nonpartisan group here in Washington and in Congress, told us that the economy is going to recover to its pre-COVID level by mid-year if we do nothing, no more stimulus. And yet, people insisted on more and more stimulus, and we can see what's happening. Part of that stimulus, part of that spending was this $300. Until Labor Day, $300 per week in expanded unemployment benefits from the federal government, on top of the fact that you don't get taxed on your first $10,000. And again, that $300 is on top of whatever the state benefit is. Are there other factors that are leading to this labor problem that we have now in our country? I think there are. I think there are. One is that we have a situation now where some people just can't afford child care. So they're not only getting more money on unemployment perhaps than they're getting at work, if they go to work, they've got to pay for child care. And child care is too expensive, and I'd like to work on that. One of the reasons we're hearing is that schools are not open, so they've got to use child care because their kids are not in school. With only 54% of K through 8 schools actually being open today, that's the latest number we have, that's a real problem. Again, that's one we can solve. And CDC is playing a role in that by saying, get kids back to school. They can do so safely. There certainly should not be any reason for this now, given the fact that so many people have been vaccinated, and thank goodness the infection levels are going down so much. So I know that that's an issue. Child care is an issue. The other issue I think that we have to know is that some people are concerned about still getting infected at work, and what the virus might lead to in terms of an unsafe workplace. But I will tell you, that concern is a lot less now, again, that so many people have been vaccinated, and the CDC, again, has responded to that and said, you can have a safe workplace, you can have a safe school. It's not hard to do. So let's get back to work. And particularly, let's deal with this unemployment insurance issue, because that is the main reason that people are not returning to work, I'm told, by the employers out there. With more than 40% of workers making more with unemployment insurance and that supplement than they would in their jobs, businesses just can't compete. Think how tragic this is. A small business owner works tirelessly to keep the lights on through COVID-19. Again, maybe uses the PPP or otherwise stays in business. And finally, after more than a year, we reach this point where the virus is in retreat. We're doing all the things we should be doing to make our workplaces safe. And now they might have to close because they just can't find people to work. The same story is being told all over the country, certainly over my state. And again, this is why 21 states now, as of this afternoon, including my home state of Ohio, have decided to give the $300 back. But we shouldn't here in Washington continue to provide that $300 to everybody else. Governors in these states understand that encouraging workers to return to the job market is essential to the economy, but it's also good for that workforce to get back to work, get back to what happens when you go to work, which is you have that sense of fulfillment, that dignity and self-respect that comes with work, and you're keeping up with whatever the technological changes at work and getting back on your career track. Guidance from the Biden administration CDC says we can move forward with getting back to normal. It's time for President Biden to follow that advice and to end the disincentive to work that's holding back the economic recovery. These are simple steps that we can take. Again, I would do a $100 bonus to go back to work for 6 weeks. But the most important thing is to end the $300 and to let people, once again, have the opportunity to pursue their American dream, which is not unemployment, it's getting a job. And with 8.1 million jobs being offered, an historic number, the most ever, it's time to make that change. I urge my colleagues and I urge the administration to change course. I yield back my time.